doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly on the People's Radio United.com website channel thingy. I'm here with Canadian Glenn and nobody else. We've been abandoned, Glenn.
Well, you know, what do you do, right? It's hard to find good people.
Wait, didn't Ronald Reagan? Never mind. There was some phrase he screwed up like that was funny. I just can't remember what it was. Yeah, so what's going on with the view up here? I'm tweeting out this show because somebody keeps telling me I need to do more of that.
Yeah, not naming any names there. No problem. Well, I just had a really well-received show last week talking about the pipeline system that the Canadian government that's so concerned about climate change, the pipeline system that they bought with our money, had on an economist, someone who's been an expert intervener in these pipeline hearings, and she was on this hearing and she quit. And she said there were fundamental flaws in the system. So we talked for 2 hours how this entire pipeline project is a scam. And it's approved under ridiculous circumstances. There's no way it should be approved. It's no Canadian taxpayers should be paying for it. But, you know, meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah.
Oh, and her name is Robin Allen.
Robin Allen. What's up with you guys in shoes? Are you guys like stealing American shoes and raising the prices and painting maple leafs on them instead of Nike logos and selling them? Like something to that effect?
Maybe something to that effect is what goes on in the fucking empty recesses of your president's head. But I don't think it happens anywhere else. Oh, man. It just gets dumber all the time, you know? I mean, I kind of feel sorry for normal Americans that leave their country because shit's just going to get a lot harder for you guys every day with this clown saying stuff like this.
Speaking of this clown, People's Radio, sorry, I always forget what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm ready to go on the first tangent. People's Radio, we just did a whole bunch of stuff this week, 2 shows. So, yeah, we did my non-objective opinion about the immigrant, I want to say concentration camps, but I meant internment camps. Hopefully they don't cross over that line. I did a show with Alex Salazar and Felipe Hemming about that, and then we released our first. Why can't I remember anything? I'm saying again. We released our first the People's Manifesto back, the first one done on video, and that's about 10 tips for filming the police. So check those out. And the People's Manifesto is on YouTube, or you could listen on Spreaker, but YouTube looks cooler. So, your choice.
Okay, I'll give an insider's review of the tips for filming the cops. Outstanding lead performance, actually admitted to making some of the mistakes and told you don't do this. Bravo.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Whoever he is.
And you know what sucks though? Here goes a tangent. I did that shit again twice now. Since I released that, I cursed out a cop yesterday, and 2 or 3 days ago I got into it with one of them. It was just ridiculous. Like, I don't take my own advice. I'm gonna get arrested, and I'm gonna sit there and say, you know what? If I hadn't called them a bunch of bullshit bitches and gangbangers and motherfuckers on video, I probably would have got off this shit and maybe even been able to sue them or get a cop in trouble. But no, I screwed myself, and now I'm getting charged with some bullshit, and the judge or jury's looking at me all crazy because I just want to shut the fuck up. So yeah, I don't take my own advice. That's pretty bad. What do you call people who do that? Trumpish?
Well, I mean, my opinion is I can understand why it's not a good idea, but it's a lot of fun. I like seeing it because, it's just telling the truth. That's all. I mean, some of your clips in that 10 tips video, it's all true shit you're saying, I mean, you shouldn't have to risk being arrested for telling somebody the truth. But, that's how it is, I guess.
Yeah. So, I guess speaking about that clown Trump and the police, today we're talking about fascism, and how close the United States is, or are we already in it? We're talking about, I don't even know. I gotta read the thing. Hang on. Do you have it with you?
Yeah, I've got it here.
Hang on. I'll tell you right now. But, la 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 la. I'm scrolling. Here we go. Fascism, dictatorships, and genocide. Where does the United States currently stand on those three things? Is it already a fascist nation heading toward becoming a full dictatorship, on its way to an apartheid or genocide? If not, how close is it? And what, if anything, can be done to stop it? I could say I think it's already a full-on fascist and has been for a while. It's just been, and then dictatorship. That depends on what the government's going to do about the guy who wants to be the dictator. Mainly the Republicans in Congress. And if he becomes a dictator, I would say we're definitely going to head straight forward toward an apartheid and eventually, hopefully, not a genocide.
Well, I think it depends on how far you want to break it down. I mean, I've always been a fan of the 14 factors, 14 signs of fascism. And, they work. They're not biased in any way. They're just simply things to look out for. The only bias comes in people judging whether they see them or not. I mean, if you want to talk about economic fascism, the United States has had economic fascism for quite some time. There's nothing new there. But, that's what we get sold as free market capitalism. That's the bread that's on the box of shit. But, I mean, come on. It's never been worse disparity in income. Never been worse public opinion, quote unquote, of people who need assistance. Those are hallmarks of fascism, plain and simple. It's existed in every fascist state there's ever been.
Yeah.
You want to talk about religious fascism? That's the hardest one to get over. It's in progress, but it's happening, and you can see who's on which side. I really appreciate groups like the Quakers and the Mennonites and sometimes the Lutherans who have the guts to come out and say, we read the book too, and what y'all doing, that's fucking bullshit. So it's it's good to see that, but it's another factor, and I
I
mean,
just rather see all the religions go away for good. Like
well,
like
I agree.
I mean, they need to all go like Zeus and stuff. People don't believe in Zeus anymore. They need to just grow out of that shit and say, you know what, we don't need to believe in these mythological fairy tales anymore. We've evolved past this. Because I see all religions of having some form of fascism in them, depending
Well,
of varying degrees.
well, again, that's where the interpretation thing comes in. And, I've said it before on this show and on other shows. The reason that things are fucked because it involves human beings. That's the bottom line, man. I mean,
But Glenn,
if,
if this is from an all-powerful, all-knowing deity that knows expands through all space and time, that motherfucker should have known that the time was coming. When people would need some kind of evidence because science would surpass mythological fairy tales, and that deity should have made shit pretty clear. But none of those deities seem to do that. They all stopped thousands of years ago, or hundreds at least. With the
yeah,
exception
but
of L. Ron Hubbard, I guess. 50 years.
don't forget Cthulhu.
Cthulhu is
Uh,
forever.
fucking rights. Um, but again, it's all about interpretation. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's like reading a book or reading a blog that hasn't had a post on it for 1,000 years. You still think it's relevant? You still think it should control your thoughts and your opinions? That's the issue. I mean, as long as people are willing to do that, no matter what the fuck it is they're going to put their faith in, if people don't evolve past it, well, what are you going to do, man?
Well, you need to make sure it doesn't govern your society. You need to make sure they don't have breakfast praying to those deities at the head capital of your fucking nation, at least.
Well, as far as my understanding of the United States Constitution goes, that shit should not be fucking happening anyway. So again, if somebody agrees with that interpretation, and why is it being allowed to happen, and why is nobody doing anything?
Because they scream about freedom of religion.
Well, read the fucking Constitution.
Yeah, they don't understand a lot of. They don't even got freedom of speech down. How are they going to get freedom of religion?
But, it's pretty clear from what I've seen that church and state are separate. And that means separate, not in the building, fucking separate.
I agree.
So,
We should.
again, no, but then again, why isn't this being enforced? Why isn't it being stopped? Because there are people involved.
Yeah, but I think
And people do what they want.
I think if we ever get a president that's a different religion, they should let them have the same thing that the Christians get with the prayer breakfast and all. Watch how fast that shit will get shut down.
Oh, yeah, like that's just impossible. Well, I mean, they tried to make a scandal out of it that John F. Kennedy was going to be the first Irish Catholic president. First Catholic president. That was like a big fucking deal. So, I mean, you're talking about reading from a different book? Oh, my God. Can't have that.
Catholics read from the same book, don't they? They just another interpretation.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, like I said, in 1960, that was a heretic act
Uh,
to actually let a Catholic in the White House. Oh my God! So I mean, if you want to talk about somebody that reads a different book than the Bible, oh, forget it. It's just not happening like that. No way.
that is one of the 14 tenets. Just for the people listening or a person listening, we we did a series a while back about the 14 tenets of fascism, and every one of the 14 applied to the United States currently, and that was a few months back. So They might even apply more now than they did before. But yeah, we got internment camps with kids in cages, and Trump signs an executive order to end what he started, and then evidently that didn't really end anything. It just
No, it actually made the money train longer and wider, is what it did.
yeah, and he could detain families, and it's yeah, and then after it's all crap, dude. It's all a bunch of games. His wife
Yeah.
wears his wife goes on to show how sympathetic she is, and goes on this trip and wears a jacket that says "I don't care, do you?" or something like that, or "I really don't care, do you?" And it turns out this jacket was made by a company that's been blasted in the past for printing racist slogans like swastikas. They have a striped shirt with the Star of David. They have one with Pepe the Frog on it. So this thing that they call the First Lady bought clothes from a basic Nazi white supremacist clothing company, or at least one that hires white supremacist designers, and then decides to wear it to internment camp full of children. And says, "I really don't care, do you?" And supposedly she didn't wear it in there, but it's you know what I mean? Who fucking thought of that? Like, what was the purpose behind it? They said there was no purpose. Then a couple minutes later, Trump tweeted out that there was a big purpose. It was all about the press or something. So
If it, yeah, well, if it rains, it's because of the press, according to that fucking clown. But I think this just demonstrates how completely unstable, unpredictable, and incompetent this administration is. For all we know, there may have been orders on what she was supposed to wear, and she just tried to find the biggest thing that would be the absolute opposite. Nobody says a word. It's a private, yeah, go fuck yourself, from her to him. Then, of course, he's going to try and spin it because, God is speaking. Trump, Staffel, listen. And then you have a press secretary that says, well, you people shouldn't just jump to conclusions. You should interpret her actions. This is a Slovenian soft porn actress that probably got citizenship illegally. What deeper purpose? Any women out there that vote for Trump and others, I think all you should have to say to him is Melania Trump wore a $39 jacket on an official visit. See anything wrong with that? That's it.
I guess I just think it's ridiculous, man. These
She
people,
probably uses $39 of toilet paper a day.
yeah, they use the one with the gold flakes in it, I think.
But you know what I'm saying? There's no way it's some sort of mistake or it didn't mean anything, because there's no way she's going to wear something that costs $39 unless there's something going on.
She's trying to show that she's down with the people. And I think you just brought up a really valid point. In her mentality, she probably goes and sees these kids and says, well, at least all the girls could just marry billionaires.
Possible.
I mean, that's probably the way she thinks. Oh, they'll just all marry rich, old, white, weird-looking billionaires, and they'll be cool. They can get citizenship, no problem. They could even become first lady. All they got to be is willing to lower their standards for a billionaire.
And have sex with a psychotic piece of shit. Well, that's my opinion, by the way. But that's a hell of a tangent, I must say. But as far as the fascism factor goes, the thing that's always notable with a fascist government is that everything is black and white. these people are okay. These people are vermin. They are trash. They are an infestation. Any leader who uses words like this, that's fascism. You can go to the hardest line communist that held power anywhere in the world, and they still didn't talk like that about the enemy. That's fascism, flat out.
You know why I laughed? I wasn't laughing at the infestation part. I was laughing because when Trump said it was an infestation, some dude tweeted at Trump and said it sounded much better in the original German.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I was laughing. I thought as soon as you said the word, that tweet popped in my head. So yeah, I wasn't laughing at the racism and terribleness. I was laughing at the response someone made to it.
No, I know. I mean, that's another thing too. I mean, I take the time to do it, but there are that are said by either the president or people speaking for him that are direct quotes out of shit from the Third Reich. Direct. So, this isn't an accident. Forget it. This is the government of the United States. You think they don't have people around to check shit? This is on purpose.
Man, I think it's just the files, She goes through Michelle Obama's files and plagiarizes that. Her husband goes through Hitler's files and plagiarizes that. It's the files.
And they're both just as incompetent in their own way.
Yeah. CNN did this interview, I don't know if it was a day or two ago. Sorry, and it was, they went to this diner somewhere in, I guess, middle America, and talked to these white people eating about the refugee children in the camps. And this one guy was talking about how they were criminals and he can't, they're this and that. He doesn't feel sorry. And this other lady's like, why do you, CNN always want us to trying to make us feel sympathy for these little kids? And why would you do that? And they asked some other lady at I think it was at a Trump rally, and she broke down into tears. And they're like, and she's like, Trump is treated so unfairly. He does so much work. She wasn't even crying about the kids. She's crying about this. So this got me thinking, I don't know if this was, the days kind of ran together this week. I had a weird work schedule, man. But after I watched it, I started thinking, I want to look up old videos of racists being interviewed in the past, the 50s, 60s. Man, it was pretty crazy. The similarities to what the people back then are saying and the people now are saying, just switching groups and names. And then some of the arguments are so funny. They do the same thing now. Like there was a guy, I watched this one video. It was actually Muhammad Ali arguing with a senator and a journalist, and Sly from the Family Stone was on there. And he was saying, slaves built this country, and you're not giving shit back. You're not. That's why you feel guilty, because you take this shit, slaves built it. And then the dude's like, do you really think 11 million black people built a country for 225 million other people? Really, do you think that? And I'm thinking now how they switch it all around, like 11 million immigrants are taking the jobs of, now it's 325, not 200 and whatever it was back then. It's like 100 million more people. It's just so funny how their bullshit little logic switches around to fit their needs, no matter how, you know what I mean?
Well,
First of all, I'm sorry, one more thing, just before I forget. They were also saying that black people joining unions and black people getting welfare was taking everyone's jobs. And this is I think the same decade. So black people were taking everyone's jobs, but 11 million black slaves couldn't have built the country. But those same 11 million black people could take everyone's jobs.
Well, this is the problem with base emotional politics. The first thing out the window is math. When the slaves were brought to America, when they did build a lot of the infrastructure and supply the labor for the materials and everything else, there was no fucking 200 and some million people in the United States. So, just to start an argument like that, and it's allowed, that's it. You're done. You're full of shit. Nothing you say after matters. Because if you're going to lie by 100 years in population to fit your narrative, I don't have time to hear it. But there's so many people who are that stupid that it hits their feels. Yeah, that's what I think. The last thing they're concerned with is if it's correct or not. That's what I think. That's how you get idiots running the show.
Yeah. Because they've even asked people in the government, like, oh, all these MS-13 are smuggling themselves in with kids and this and that. Really?
Bullshit.
And then, like, how many? Give us a number. One reporter asked some senator, congressman, Republican. He's like, it's happening all over. And it's true what he said. He said, like, I think if it was happening all over, you guys would have it all over the news. That'd be like the only thing we'd be hearing about.
Well, they use that same tactic on quite a few things. I mean, when the previous government in Canada fucked up election laws similar to what's been going on in states all across the U.S., that was their claim, that voter fraud is rampant. It's everywhere. And they even made up stories, all kinds of shit, just to sell their voter suppression. And even when they get called on it, then there's always somebody else to blame. So, in other words, it was hearsay, like, they just don't change. It's always the same methods of delivery. It's just that they used to be a lot easier to pick out in the past because they weren't being sold everywhere like they are now.
Yeah, I mean, before the days of social media being so big, the police used to always do this in LA, and I would assume maybe some other cities did it as well. But they would make up these things like, oh, tonight's the night all these gang members are going to go out and do this or do that and start murdering innocent people and, just crazy stuff. And nobody ever heard of that. And then stuff never happened. They'd be like, oh, gangbangers are going to go out tonight and flash their high beams at people, and or drive with their lights off, and if you tell them to turn their lights on, they'll kill you. And just crazy stuff, like just random, like way out stuff all the time. Like every so often you hear another thing. These gangsters are doing something now, and most gangsters didn't even know about this shit. It was just something the police would do, put it out to bring fear into, gangsters are going to kill 10 cops this weekend or this or that. Man, it's like it's just ridiculous shit. Yes, all to keep the people scared and then when it doesn't happen, you can say, oh, well, the police stopped it. Of course they stopped it. It never was going to even happen. They made it up, and it's kind of like Trump's children in cages. He caused the problem, then he solved the problem and said, I'm your savior. I just signed an executive order.
Well, there's a lot of people that say those are the only crimes the police do solve, the ones that they do themselves.
Yeah, or the ones that they allow. I mean, that's another thing that happened, tangent time. They used to always have like a crack house that would stay open for years and years and years. This one crack house is open, all the other ones around it get shut down. One crack house stays open. It wasn't that far from the police department. It turns out later they were ratting out everybody for the police, and the police would let them stay open. Mm-hmm. So the police were cool with crack getting supplied to all the people in the city. It was just the problem was they wanted to make sure they had their quotas and their arrests and look like they were doing something. So they were working with crack dealers to make sure the other crack dealer. I mean, how much did it help this guy's business over here? You know what I mean? That all his competition gets arrested.
Yeah.
And he's a bitch snitch working with the police and making it's so corrupt, man. And if you think that shit doesn't go all the way to the top on huge, giant international scales, you're a fool. Not you, but I'm saying other people.
So did that guy walk and disappear?
No, eventually I think it got cracked or shut down or something because it's not there anymore. But
I wonder. I wonder if he hired Jay Lederman.
he was working with the police. He might have been.
Yeah, but then that would mean he's inside. So I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think back then Jay Lederman was even. He was probably like a teenager maybe or something. I don't think he was a superstar or lawyer to the whatever he is.
To New Jack City.
Yeah.
Well, just to mention, I mean, characteristic number 12 on the list of 14 is obsession with crime and punishment. Under fascist regimes,
Yep.
the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. The people are often willing to overlook police abuses and even forego civil liberties in the name of patriotism. There is often a national police force with virtually unlimited power in fascist nations. So you mean like the new Einsatzgruppen, ICE? Or you mean the
Homeland
DHS
Security,
cops?
Yeah.
You know, like what the fuck? What do those fuckers actually do? Do they answer to anybody?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about other cities, but I know in LA, I've seen quite a few Homeland Security trucks just driving around in different areas of the city, like patrolling. I don't know what the hell they do and what they're for. Like one got behind me one day. I was like ready to like, what the fuck are they doing behind me? I think, and then I noticed he always goes to this one street in church. I'm hoping he lives down there one day. I'll get a picture of his car and his address and be able to know where a Homeland Security person lives. Put that out everywhere. Make him move.
Well, what I'm curious of is if there's ever an operation and DHS shows up, do they take command? That's what I want to know.
Like those cop shows. This is our case. Not anymore. It's not, buddy.
Yeah, and then the bureau pulls up. And it's their fucking case. I'm just wondering if DHS assumes field command and nobody says anything, you know? I wonder if there's a deal with LAPD or Anaheim or any of those.
I know one time I had I guess it would be a panic attack or something. I couldn't breathe and the cops were surrounding me and it became this whole ordeal. It was at a court building. All I wanted to do was be left alone. I didn't want the cops around me, but they couldn't seem to figure out that would have been the thing to calm me the fuck down, so they kept them around me. But when I left, there was like Homeland Security cars all on the street surrounding the court building. So like I don't know if they have something to do with courts or what, but I mean that's not a normal. I mean I've had police calling me lots of times, and it's usually police. It's never like Homeland Security. That just seemed odd. This was at a Santa Monica court building. So that's something. I don't know why. I didn't talk to them. I just kept moving. But I remember seeing a couple of the cars out there all parked with their lights on. And honestly, I don't know. Those cops that were up there could have been Homeland Security because I don't know. I assume they dress just like regular cops, right? I think they dress like LAPD or whatever.
Well, I mean, this is just it, though. Who really knows the powers that force has? Can they dress undercover? Can they assume identities? Like, who knows? Nobody asks. Nobody says. Like, in Canada, there really aren't any unknown law enforcement agencies. Not anymore. We know where they all are and what they can, what they can't do. Whether they follow the rules, that's a whole nother question. But, you know, I will say that one thing, the laws have not gotten any more libertarian in Canada. Not by any means. But at least if you're informed, you know who all your enemies are. And in the U.S., I don't think that's true.
No, you have so many different law enforcement agencies. just within each city. You know what I mean?
Well, what's with this thing now with ICE can do anything within 100 miles of a border?
I don't know. I mean, ICE seems to be doing stuff further in than that. But here's the thing, man. People need to. I don't know. It's just. I don't understand this. Like, if you have a neighbor that works for ICE, you should be shaming him. You should make him have to move, him or her, whoever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A whole neighborhood should be posting pictures and fuck this guy and, you know, throwing shit on his lawn, like whatever. Just anything to do to make this motherfucker have to leave. Have the police there every day if it takes that. Stick signs up, pick it out in front of the house.
Or get a new job.
Yeah, torture these people. Find out if you see these people in the streets, take pictures, put their pictures online. You know, I love that they surrounded the ICE headquarters in, I think it was Portland.
Yeah.
And the ICE agents can't come out, and the police are like, can they please just go home to their families? And and the protesters are like, fuck no. Can those children just go see their mothers and fathers? No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why y'all shut the fuck up and quit bitching? Because what's good for the little kids is good for the ICE agents. It's even better for the ICE agents. But, yeah, these people, I mean, I love when what's her name? Nielsen?
DHS secretary?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Kristen Nielsen?
Kristen Nielsen, there it is. Yeah, she was at a Mexican restaurant. She got blasted.
Yep.
Steve Miller,
Yep.
same thing just happened to him.
Yep.
And he's a straight out Nazi. She's a Nazi too, but she pretends like she cares. Or at least she tried to at first, and then she's like, "Fuck caring. I'm in this shit to win it."
She's another Gina Haspel.
Yeah. Following orders.
That I love.
The Nuremberg Crew. So yeah, I mean, it's like torture these people. I didn't know that. I don't know. I'm not gonna say get violent because whatever, but you know, fuck your Secret Service. I'd be throwing plates or something. Fuck them people. These people are horrible Nazi scum. They don't deserve to feel safe anywhere. They shouldn't even have security. They should just, man, they should have to like board themselves up in their houses for safety. That's how terrible these people are. All of society should shun them. You know, I'm sure they'll have the few little rednecks and hillbillies. And that's another thing. All the Trump supporters, man, how many of them get to go to Mar-a-Lago and go to all these, you know, Trump hotel? Why doesn't he open it up to his inbred redneck, you know, poor trailer park supporters? Why can't they all go live in Trump Towers?
Because all his supporters accept the social structure. And that's why they worship him.
No. I'm sorry, Glenn. No, he's
What?
here for those people. He wants to make America great. He loves his people. He should say, look, if you have a Make America Great Again hat, and you're one of my supporters, you're more than welcome anytime in Mar-a-Lago, $10 fee.
Yeah, right.
Anything you want to do. You want to come to the Trump Hotel, man, $100 night, $100 rooms or something. Something like just, he could take the loss, dude. He's a billionaire. He's the richest man in the world. According to him yesterday, he's a leader than the elites.
I think you're confusing with Pablo Escobar. Because that's what Pablo Escobar used to do. He was the richest man in the world. And anybody showed up at his place, yeah, come on in. Live it up. No problem, muchacho.
Now you owe me.
You know, but I mean, no, this is the whole stupidity of it. So many people, whether it's their level of education or where they live and what kind of economic activity is or is not around them. The problem with the United States is it's just so many little invisible republics within its borders. And when that shit gets played up like it gets played up these days, that's, you know, shit's just not going to work out well.
Hey, but
You know?
from now on, when I see a Trump supporter to say something like, he's here for us, I'm like, really? He cares about you? Yes. Well, then, how many times did he let you go to Mar-a-Lago or Trump Tower to just chill, to have a vacation at a price you can afford? I mean, he
Yeah.
has shit here in LA. He has golf courses out here and stuff here. They could go chill there. He's got a lot less supporters here, man. He could have the 1,000 people he has in California go down there and chill for a day. You know, do all their little racist chanting, and they will not replace us, and build that wall and go through all the. Why not, man? Open up his shit to the people that supported him.
Well,
Wouldn't that be caring about the people and doing what you say? Like, you know, he loves the poorly educated. These are poorly educated. Take them all in. They shouldn't be poor. You're the president. I don't get it. You're a billionaire.
okay, I think the problem that is best described that you're doing here is you're taking the bullshit too far. You know, we'll bullshit them all that we're going to mentally great and yeah, rah rah everybody, but that's where it stops. As far as actually delivering it, no, that's not. It's a slogan, man. Actually doing it is not part of the operation. I'm sorry, you've gone too far.
Okay, so I guess to the average Trump supporter, hurting Mexican children is good enough. They don't need Mar-a-Lago or vacations.
Well, I mean, again, it's this whole thing about fucking feels. Nobody thinks. Everybody feels. Well, since the dawn of time, when push comes to shove, your feels don't fucking matter. They never have. They never will. So why don't you use your brain and try and change things for the better? But
yeah,
that's default. Everybody has feels.
I just hate the Trump people, man. It's like just they're so stupid. I hate them all. They're fucking racist. They're losers. They're incompetent. They're fucking morons. But yeah, we need to move on to the next subject, which is dictatorship.
Well, I'll just say right off the top, that comment that Drumpf made about he's the elite of the elite, that immediately reminded me of Ferdinand Marcos. Exact same bullshit.
I have a better apartment. I have more money. And I'm the president and they're not. Hey! What a loser, man. Didn't he hate the elitists like a couple months back? Now he's the elitist of the elite.
Nothing has to make sense. You know? I mean, in a way, it's like a cartoon, except the audience has been multiplied by millions. You know? That's all it is. It doesn't matter what the cartoon character says, as long as he says it in character. That's it.
I guess.
But I mean, you know, Ferdinand Marcos immediately came to mind. Augusto Pinochet immediately came to mind. Franco behaved like, well, I mean, Perón acted like that in Argentina too. This fascination with the peasants to worship the elite is just something I'll never understand.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it goes just like my Twitter timeline, man. It's just all celebrities. Let Beyonce or Jay-Z do something. That's all you see in the timeline, or some celebrity I've never even heard of. Sometimes it's like, what the hell? Why do I care? Why is this big news? Somebody went on a date. Somebody got married. Somebody had a baby. Somebody did this. Somebody did that. Somebody's putting out a new album with somebody else. Somebody's got a new role in another movie making so many millions of dollars. We should all celebrate and jump for joy because these people we don't even know are doing shit for way more than what it's worth.
Because it's all about feels, and people would rather dream impossible dreams than solve their fucking problems. That's what they've been conditioned to do, and they're going to keep doing it.
Oh man, I'm sick of this shit. These people suck.
But I mean, that's none of that shit's in my timeline. Like, I've got 3 words muted on Twitter: Oscars, Emmys, Academy.
I didn't know you can mute words. I just mute people. Wow.
Yeah, you can mute words, man.
Oh, I need to get busy with that.
None of that shit matters if you want to solve any problems. If you just want to find a team, well, yeah, that's what all that shit's for.
Muting the words. I did not know you can do that. I'm looking right now. Because like I go here, it's take your dog to work day, some kind of sports soccer stuff, something about clothing for spring, Johnny Depp. Why do I care about any of this?
I have no idea.
China, there's the first thing. China just handed the world $111 million ton trash problem. 111 million ton trash problem. First thing, any kind of real news or anything. Quentin Tarantino, Manson family movie, Johnny Depp, Laura Dern. Who the hell is Laura Dern? I don't even know who these people are. Then it goes down to Japanese Americans kept in internment camps remember their trauma. Okay, that might be relevant. Hot dog water sells for a steep price in Canadian. Wait, hold up. You guys are selling hot dog water?
I have no idea, man.
Oh, okay.
No idea.
I'm not even going to open it up or read it because I don't care. So yeah, what do you think? You think Trump's going to become a dictator like he wants? I mean, he's hinted at it. He always praises every dictator he runs into. He's hailed that China's president can stay president for life. He thinks that's awesome. We'll have to see if we can do that here. We'll look into it, he said.
Well, what I'm seeing here, what happened today in the Beltway bubble, Representative Ted Lieu tried to play the tape of the children in detention.
I saw that.
And the speaker shut him down.
She didn't shut him down. He kept playing it, didn't he?
Yeah, but he got noted, like a black mark or something from the speaker.
And what does that do?
Well, whatever. It's just
if you're an elected official, can another elected official fire you? The people have to fire you, don't they?
No, it's not about firing him. It's about fucking around in the house. You don't get this, you don't get that.
Uh-oh.
It's their game. But apparently old Bill Clinton came out and shit on Trump, for all that's going to matter. And Trump held some sort of media availability. He met with families of people who have been killed by illegal aliens. That is so Stephen Harper, that's unbelievable.
What do you have, like 10 families?
I don't know. I'm just reading about what happened. I'm not seeing it. I don't think I want to.
Why don't you have a meeting with families with people killed by white supremacists? There's probably more of them, and some of them would be police. Families of police.
Well, they're fine people on both sides.
Evidently not the immigrant side in his head.
Well, that's a different side.
Some I assume are good people. Never even very fine on them. Just good.
Fuck.
He's such a racist. He's such a piece of shit. And every one of his supporters should fucking just go and drink some poison. Right now. But before we end this show, go on, every Trump supporter.
Well, I mean, as far as dictatorship goes, I mean, most countries that have a dictatorship have very weak people around the leader. Yes men, or just idiots who have some sort of PR value. Or they're vast contributors to the power of the dictator in other ways. So how many people in the Trump cabinet do you see fall into those categories?
Most
just
of
about
them.
all. Yeah, exactly. DeVos,
And
right at the top of the list.
And here's the other thing. And we left the Human Rights Council because we don't believe in human rights anymore. And when they left, they were like, they don't believe in human rights. They always
You are.
I know you are. What am I?
But isn't that interesting that they left the Human Rights Council, and today the HRDC, if that's the right acronym for them, I think, said that Trump's policy of detaining children in cages may amount to torture. That's what the UN had to say today. So yeah, of course we're going to leave. You guys are talking shit. We're going home.
Yep.
But, while we're on the subject, the one good side is Israel doesn't have an automatic backer in the Human Rights Council anymore.
Well, that's the only good thing. And that's part of the reason Haley left. How dare you stand up for the dark people over the white people? You know what I think? I think that if it's left to Republicans, they wouldn't mind having a dictatorship as long as they're the ones in charge. I don't think the Democrats would mind that either, but they're further from that. I think the Republican, I mean, think about it. No more voting. And if you do vote, it's between two Republicans, and it's a sham. More of a sham than our voting is now. And they'll always have power. Their people always have, everyone will have to donate to them. Of course they'd want that. And they could just argue over who's going to be the head dude of the dictatorship.
Well, I mean, this is something else that, I've talked about in Canada, too. Over the last 30 years, every government that came and went, didn't matter which of the two parties, because that's all we ever had in Canada, two fucking parties back and forth.
I thought you had 32 parties. Wow.
Yeah, there's only been two that have ever been national government. But, shit, now I forgot where I was going. Oh, yeah, the thing is, every government put a little more enforcement in, a little more protection, a little more never mind what we're doing. And the opposition would bitch about it, then they get in, did they take that stuff back? Hell no. Then they would build on it. And then the other guys would bitch, and then government would change. Would any repealed? No. They'd only add to it. So, I mean, this is a real problem in the U.S.
Yeah, same thing here. Look at the Patriot Act and the NDAA and Bush and Obama.
It's not only that. It's not only that now. Look at the way the White House, the presidency is being run, and nothing's being done to stop it. So, all those good things in the Constitution that say, yeah, the Congress can end this, nobody wants to do anything. This is a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
I
don't know why. I mean, me, I feel like all these presidents should be in prison. But, or even executed for the crimes they did, how many people they murdered. And I figure it's always because of common professional courtesy, like, oh, we don't want to go for our crimes, so we're not going to, how Pelosi didn't do anything, and nobody does anything. They, it's always let them get away with their crimes, unless they do crimes again, like rape or murder or something. But as far as just like white collar crimes and the shit they're doing in office, they're cool with that, man. Both parties do it. They're both corrupt as shit. So they don't want to create a precedence where someone's going to get caught for that shit because both parties are involved in it. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, there is the odd time that's, at least up here. I can think of 3 former provincial premiers that did go to jail after they were out of office. So, and within the last 40 years. So it's not like way back. So if you piss off enough people and do that shitty of a job up here, you can end up paying for it. So, but I mean...
Yeah, but the view up there is way different than the view down here.
True. No, that's absolutely true. And this This entire thing with use of executive orders, this is very, very dangerous. It comes down to people obeying orders, like it always does. Again, we're back to the start. Human fucking beings. They're the ones who make mistakes. You know? I mean, there are people like John Kiriakou and Thomas Drake and Chelsea Manning and Reality Winner who stand for principle. They're the people who actually follow the Constitution, in my opinion. You know, but they are few and far between, and look what happens to them. That's because the rest of the human beings either don't want to know, don't give a fuck, have done something themselves, so want to see the other people pay instead of them, you know? I mean, people fuck up everything for people.
Yeah, even some of those people you just named fucked up shit for people, even though they did something good. They go and do some bad shit later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Chelsea Manning's name, but, you know. Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, I could see that definitely happening as far as a dictatorship. I'd hope it wouldn't, but, I mean, it doesn't seem outside of the realm of possibilities with what's going on right now. I never thought shit would get as far as it is right now this quick.
Well, in this year's discretionary budget proposal in the United States, this is the most out of that budget that's being spent on the military since, I believe, during the Iraq War. So
that's another tenet of fascism, actually. One of the 14 is a huge military and military kind of worship and all that.
That would be number 4, supremacy of the military.
There it is.
Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding, and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers and militaries are glamorized.
Yeah, that's this whole thing they're doing, even with the sports teams and stuff. Yep. It's all about disrespecting our military and...
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Trump. You would think for somebody that didn't want to go to war and called not getting gonorrhea his personal Vietnam, he wouldn't be so gung-ho on the military, but he sure is.
Well, he didn't go. Nobody he gives a fuck about is going to go. That's for little people, man.
Why doesn't Barron go? How old is Barron? 12?
Gee, I wonder why.
13? You know, 5 more years, Barron should be out there fighting.
See, that's one thing you have to give credit for. In Great Britain, the royal family, they all serve. You know,
do they really serve, or do they just...
Well, Harry did. Harry was a pilot in Afghanistan.
Like, for real, flying through there, or was it just like he was...
No, for real. Extra? No, he was assigned to an air brigade in Afghanistan, and he flew missions.
Well, that's cool, but the royal family doesn't really have anything to do with politics over there. They're just like welfare recipients.
I know, but still,
they're mascots.
They're the most powerful fucking mascots on the world, I'll tell you that. But at least even them, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, we're an extreme free ride. So, you know, if you guys have to send your kids, we'll send our kids too. So, you know, something like that.
Well, that's fine, because they should do that, because they do nothing and make all that money. They don't like.
But they do it. They do it.
But do the politicians in the UK do that when their country goes to war? Like Tony Blair, did his kids go to Iraq? Does he have kids? I don't even know.
There actually were a couple prominent British politicians that have had their kids go serve.
I don't know why Bush's daughters weren't out there. They were the right age, too.
Because they were alcoholics.
Yeah, well, there you go. You won't feel it. You'll feel numb. You'll feel numb in combat. That's what we need. Shit. It's hard. It's hard to be out there killing people every day that didn't do anything. Most of them. You have to. You have to. Get some kind of something in your system to make you an efficient killer. I think the Bush girls would have been really efficient killers. They should have been out there. I think Barron needs to be getting ready to go too. Just start doing push-ups, motherfucker. Do whatever you got to do. What about Trump Jr. and Eric Trump? They could have been in Iraq. How come they didn't go? If they love America, and they believe that the troops fighting over there are for our freedom. How come their asses weren't over there?
You mean Uday and Kusei Trump?
Beavis and Butthead Trump, yeah.
No kidding. Isn't that just the biggest thing, man? Beavis and Butthead was like 25 years ago. And look.
Now they both have the same. We found out they're brothers.
Unbelievable.
Fascist, racist brothers. But
Oh, wait a minute, though. That I can mention number 13. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint you to government positions and use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. It is not uncommon in fascist regimes for national resources and even treasures to be appropriated or even outright stolen by government leaders. MAGA.
Yeah, I just, it's ridiculous, dude. It's so blatant, so much shit going on.
Yep.
The whole Trump family should have been in jail before they ever became president, just for laundering Russian mob money. I mean, I think that's where he screwed up. Becoming president put him under the radar more. People care about what he's doing more. Before he was just some quasi-celebrity that looked goofy. Now he's like the fucking president and he has say in shit. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a buffoon idiot, if you're just a reality TV star, because they're all buffoon idiots. That's why they're reality TV stars. But to be a president, someone who has say that affects the lives of all kinds of people around the world, someone who can put children in cages literally, then yeah, I don't know.
Well,
it's horrifying.
It's just my personal viewpoint, but I mean, now I look at those pictures of these people who were at Trump rallies in 15 and 16, like Cletus and Mary Bell from the trailer park, wearing their shirts that said, "Fuck your feels." Well, turns out they're the ones who actually fucked their feels. And they're going to pay for it. I mean, this is the biggest thing that just baffles me. So many people who voted for Trump are going to be hurt by Trump. And so far, most of them are still sticking with him. This is something I just can't comprehend. I don't understand the people who are having a hard time, who are, in their opinion, not getting a fair shake. Wouldn't you know why? Why do you let some rich con man tell you why? And you believe it? It blows my fucking mind.
You want to talk about both sides, man. I hear these Democrats always, and Republicans just love them, most of them, but the Democrats, Trump has some good points. He does some good things here and there. He's a fascist piece of shit. It's the same thing with Obama. If you do 10 good things, but you slaughter a whole bunch of people and enslave others and push racist, fascist policies forward, I don't give a fuck about the few good things you did. You know what I mean? You're a war criminal. You're a warmonger. You're an evil motherfucker.
No, I agree with that. And look at what you mentioned. How many good things do you have to do to kill so many innocent people?
There's not enough good things in all the world.
But to the people that are in control, there is. And again, what is this all based on when these are the metrics we measure by? Money and fields.
Like that's the first
Money,
thing.
but money comes in if you kill the people, for the people with money, and the fields are on your side when those people don't look like your people.
Yeah, one of the fascists' favorite thing to say is, "Well, where would you be if America never existed? What wouldn't it be better if? Do you think it'd be better if America didn't exist?" Hell yeah! For a whole lot of people around the world, it would have been way fucking better, way fucking better. And as far as me, I come from immigrants. They probably be dead in another country or somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Like, oh well.
Well, if you want to take right-wingers and throw an existential question at them, I think you might as well just fucking stop right there.
No, they always say that shit to me. I've heard that shit a million times.
But it's complete dead cat issue. They're just trying to completely throw... It's a landmine on the whole argument. That's all it is. You know, we can talk about things, but it didn't fucking happen, so it don't matter. This is now. You know, that's the only way to deal with those people.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, oh yeah, whatever.
Their logic is so flawed, man. So flawed.
Well, I mean, even calling it logic, I think, is a stretch. It's not logical in any sense of the word. It's belief system. That's what it is.
Yeah, they are like cult members.
Well, everybody has a belief system. Some people base theirs on science or experience or factual knowledge. Some base it on what they want it to be. A whole fucking lot of them out there these days.
Yeah.
And it's being encouraged.
So Trump, he loves Israel. He thinks it's great. He loves their wall. He loves all that. He said it a lot of times. Do you think he or the people with him, like Stephen Miller or whatever, are saying that we need to head toward a apartheid state? Try to set it up and, you know, eliminate certain groups of people, get them behind that wall or in some kind of dead space, and you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I look at other things too. I mean, you want to talk about Israel, let's say from the 1967 war to today. Without American tax dollars and unfettered access to all NATO military arms to sell their shit, without those two factors, everything would be different there anyway. But, I mean, you know, I'm a person who believes South Africa has the bomb. Some people don't. Where did they get it from? Israel. Israel defended the apartheid state in South Africa right to the very bitter end. Basically longer than anybody else. It's obvious to people who are objective, I think, that look at Israel. Yeah, it's an apartheid state. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, that's not allowed to be talked about. Only ridiculed if it is brought up. So that kind of Western global compliance with the Israeli state is something that Trump wishes he had.
We have a bigger white occupation than they do because we have a bigger, you know, area.
But when Israel does something, how many countries in the world officially come out and shit? You got Iran, North Korea, not even Saudi Arabia anymore, not even the Emirates, you know, Syria. That's about it. That's it in the whole fucking world. But when the U.S., like what they're doing right now, there are countries all over the world publicly saying, no, this ain't fucking cool. but yet Israel can do it, and none of them say shit. That's what Trump wishes he had.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
And it's
know.
impossible.
I just know he's commented on it a lot, and it seems like yeah, you're right. He wants that,
Yep.
but I think
Well,
I think he just thinks it's a wall, and everything else will fall into place.
the wall is the biggest thing he promised to get elected. If he can deliver it before November 2020, he thinks it's going to be enough to get him back in. If he's still there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's like I don't know why he's still there, and then I worry if he goes. Like we got Pence after Trump, and in a lot of ways, that's a lot worse than Trump, in my opinion.
That's a theocracy.
You don't have the insanity. You have somebody who's respected, and now you have all the Christians united, the ones who even don't like Trump because of immorality, quote unquote.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody whines and screams about, imagine a nuclear-armed Iran. Well, let's put a theocracy in charge of the United States. Iran times 9,000.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, that's something else when I was saying, like, every president builds more power, more executive power, more executive protection, more executive secrecy. And now Pence, next? Holy shit. I wouldn't be surprised if there are military units with a cross on an armband.
They've had that before.
Yep.
They've had that before in our military in Iraq and Afghanistan. They even were making guns with religious symbols on it for a while because the gun manufacturer was Christian or something. How sick is that, dude? And here's the thing: all these motherfuckers out here. Oh, Sharia laws in this place. Sharia laws gonna take over this city, and there's towns in Detroit and Florida where Sharia law has taken over already, and people can't do anything, and this and that. Well, first of all, none of that is true. But second of all, if you're so worried about a religious law, I mean, what the stuff that's contained in Sharia law, then you should be terrified of Christian law because it's pretty much the same damn thing, just a different deity in charge.
But it's an identifiable enemy. That's the point, and it motivates a certain demographic.
But we can go down a whole list of things that will be exactly the same from Sharia law and Christian law. You know what I mean? A theocracy.
Well, I know.
Theocracy. These people are sick. And the religions are, I mean, think about it. They all spawn from each other. There's Judaism 2.0, Judaism 3.0, Judaism 4.0. That would be what? Christianity, Islam, Mormonism.
No.
All based off the same damn book with a spin.
Well, I mean, number 8. Religion and government are intertwined.
Yeah.
Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. In other words, please see Washington, D.C., June 20th, 21st. That's it, right there. That's exactly what they've done. Used scripture to claim something opposite.
Yeah. I mean, that everything is like that. And like I said just earlier in the same show and other shows, we've said it before, these books are written so you can pretty much take any stance and validate it using the books. You know, within is a broad range of things that you can justify using these religious texts. Very broad.
But nowhere in government. You know?
Wait, I didn't hear what you said. You said nowhere in government?
Yeah, that should be the issue.
Oh.
You know?
Well,
And according to the Constitution, it is, but not so much these days.
I mean, every presidents have always, oh, not always, but for a long time, they've quoted religious texts, usually the same religious text. They
For fields.
They identify with the religion.
Yeah, for the fields, because fields vote. I mean,
Yep.
that's just part of human nature. And the more isolated and not quote unquote worldly citizens are, things that they see in the people who want to be their leaders that remind them of themselves or verify themselves, that's a big factor.
Yeah.
You know, it's not based on any truth. It's just selling fucking feels, and people buy it. I mean, you know, I don't understand why all Americans don't start at the point of, look at the last two presidential elections. All the competitors raised over $1 billion. So you think this is about all you people? No bigger problem involved here? Get real.
Man, we don't have any power. I mean, I know we disagree on some things about voting, but really, if you're not being willing to walk in and donate money to your politicians, they're not going to give a fuck about you in this country. Unless, I mean, not even then, because there's people that go and occupy their offices, and what happens? Those people get dragged out, beaten, and arrested. So yeah, basically, you need a big briefcase of money to get what the people want in this country. We need all the people just to pour money into politics and make it even worse. And that's the problem, because you got these, like, I see the Young Turks. I watch that sometimes, and they're always saying, "Get the money out of politics, get the money out of politics." And now, before like almost every episode, he's talking about, go to this website and you could donate money to your favorite politicians. Like what you just said in your last one, get money out of politics, but now it's for your Democrats within the Democrats you like now. You know what I mean? It's crap, dude. It's such crap. All the money needs to come out of politics. Every fucking dollar. They need to be equaled out. Every party can only have so much. Every candidate can only have so much. And if it goes in, you know, that's how it needs. It needs to have. These campaigns are just ridiculous, man. They spend more money than feature films. That, you know what I mean? It's insane.
Well,
they
if you
need
look
to
at
say, what? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's just like Noam Chomsky says. You sell the illusion of democracy by having a very vigorous debate in your society. But the scope of debate is the width of a hair. And you're never allowed to debate about anything that really matters.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. It's just like, why are people still talking about abortion? It's legal. It's over. Why are people still talking about gay marriage? You know? Like...
Because, Glenn, first of all, gay marriage is an abomination, and two, abortion is murder. You don't kill babies, you snatch them from their parents and throw them in cages. Jeez.
Thank you, Mr. Pence.
That's how they believe. It's insane. It's really insane.
Okay, but there is no logic in any of those statements or beliefs. It's all based on feels. All of it.
Yeah, you're right. When I use the word logic, is for lack of another word. It's like their logic is flawed, it's skewed, but you're right. It isn't even logic. It's just some kind of belief system. I gotta stop using that. Oh wait, we have people in the chat. I just clicked back on the chat. What's going on there? Fuck
Yeah,
you, use all the right
apparently,
words today.
apparently
Democracy, yeah, right.
we're controversial, I guess.
According to who?
The people in the chat.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well,
I've never
I
said
don't.
anything controversial in my life.
Fuck no.
No.
I don't know.
Adversarial, not controversial.
Hmm. I don't see that either, but okay, whatever.
You don't see
It's some
that?
kind of ism. It's got to be.
Yeah.
But then we could talk about point 11, disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education and academia. It is not uncommon for professors and other academics to be censored or even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked, and governments often refuse to fund the arts. Well, that's the US, that's Great Britain.
Trump loves the poorly educated.
Yeah, let's make some more of them.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's the thing. We have to just fight this stuff somehow. It's like, I think I put a tweet out yesterday. There's a woman who was a journalist that does sports. I don't know, a sports journalist or something. And she had her breast grabbed, and some guys kissed her and were fondling her. And I said, and then I get, people are talking about, oh, how can we make them change, and why, they're not going to change. They're whacked out, drunk ass, devolved idiots. So the best thing you can do, I said, is give her a microphone with a built-in taser. Don't wait for them to change. Just solve the fucking problem. Nobody should be getting groped and shit. We have to do the same thing with fascism, and just attack it any way we fucking can. But don't wait for. Everyone's waiting like, oh, he'll change. A Democrat will come in and everything will get better again, and this will happen, or it'll work itself out, or somebody's going to have some sense. No, it's not going to work like that. It never works like that. And if it does, you're lucky. And how long is that going to last before the next time this shit happens? So yeah, we really, really, really need people to do something. Like, we need a figurative taser mic for the people against our own government here.
Well,
See,
I'm going to kind of...
I did a parable like Jesus right there, or just longer.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to kind of go off my usual perspective and say, this reporter, I wonder if it's an open carry state.
I believe it was another country, but I'm not for sure. It was because it was a football that wasn't American football. It was soccer.
Oh, okay. I see. Because, I would be in support of let these women wear sidearm.
Oh, that too. I was just like, tase the dude.
No, the reason that this happens is because they get away with it. These are young, drunk, arrogant assholes who, if they had a sexual assault rap on a record, would completely fuck up their life where they thought it was going to go. And they are guilty of it, but they know they're not going to get caught. That's the problem. As long as there's no punishment, there's no deterrent.
Yeah, that's true.
So let a couple of these drunk fuckers with wood get a fucking couple bullets put in them. I think things will change.
Yeah, just teach her to aim for the groin.
Yeah. Didn't go for the body man and try and kill him. Just shot his dick off.
Yeah, you know how to kill him. Just teach him a lesson, and that'll take away his incentive to do it again.
Yeah, castration.
Bam, castration. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, that's great. As long as, I'm just going to say, as long as the woman with the gun is an NRA member, because fuck racist associations.
Yeah.
We say this
It's
a
always
lot. You don't need to be an NRA member. You don't need to join a racist club to own a gun. It's your constitutional right.
well. I mean, again, we get on to the subject about consistently more than 2/3 of the polling within the NRA of its membership says they want background check, they want mental health guidelines, they want all this stuff. Their own membership does.
But you
that's not
don't need to join a racist club to own a gun. Doesn't matter what their membership, their organization is built on racism, historically racist. Their leaders are racist, criminal, gun runner, drug runners now. That Oliver North is their new president. So you don't need to be in a sick-ass, terrible organization like that to own a gun. Just go buy a gun. If you feel you need it, get a gun. But don't join the NRA. That's all I'm saying. I felt the need to throw that in. When you're talking about fascism, you can't get much more fascist than the NRA.
Well, the NRA is the American Volkssturm. That's what they are. Flat out. That's what they are. And they're structured like the Volkssturm. Just Germans that had weapons. And they're just like, yeah, well, if it comes on my street, let me know. For the most part. And then there are all the fanatics who ran it and presented them as this fearsome military force in the shadows, which is pretty much what the NRA tries to do. But, my only point is 2/3 of their own members want some fucking realistic gun laws. And yet their leadership does the exact opposite. So, welcome to America.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sometimes you Canadians just have me so envious of your view up there.
Well, again, it's just a matter of a lesser evil. That's all it is.
Yeah, it just seems like, you guys are going to hit fascism years after we do. At least 5 years. So.
Oh, no. Harper did, just in my opinion, Harper checked every one of the 14 boxes in the 9 years he was in charge.
How many boxes do you think you have checked now with Trudeau? All of them still?
Okay, just let me go through it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
It would help if you just
4.
kind of told us what they were.
Okay, identification of enemy scapegoats as a unifying cause. Yes, every Western government does that. Controlled mass media, absolutely. Corporate power is protected, absolutely. Labor power is suppressed, yep. Rampant cronyism and corruption, well, we'll see. It's not a terrible record so far, but it ain't great. And with legalized weed about to hit the streets, we'll see how many friends of the Liberal Party get rich quick. I'll really go on a tangent now. In Canada, Bill C-45 is now law, received royal assent. Recreational marijuana in Canada is legal. Personal possession, 28 grams.
That's a zipper.
You're allowed to grow 4 plants without a permit in your residence. There will be fights. There's already been condo boards trying to be able to tell all their owners that they can't grow weed, which scenes are seen, and it's going to be years in court. Whatever. Every province gets to pick how they're selling it.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Is it 4 plants blooming or just 4 plants total?
4 plants total.
Okay.
But it's not going to be in effect until October 17th. And the old laws still apply. So beware. Now, Bill C-46 is also now law. That was changes they brought in with the marijuana law, or cannabis law. And it involves stiffer penalties for impaired driving, driving under the influence of alcohol, and now they have formally criminalized driving under the influence THC. Their testing methods are on their way to the Supreme Court. I don't think it's going to be very long at all before this hits the courts. 2 months, max. The cops are allowed by law to take a breath sample, and whatever tool they've been given, it's going to tell them yay or nay. There is no accurate testing out there, especially roadside. And if you don't have any indication of impairment roadside, you have no right in Canada to take a person into the station.
Yeah, weed. Who doesn't drive? You know, it's not the same as drinking.
No,
Like,
it's nowhere
like
near the
nothing.
same.
It's like nothing. I don't do with smoking weed. Like even my boss the other day was like, "Dang, that shit's strong. You don't even care, do you?" And I was like, "You know, you never see me not stoned." He's like, "Well, damn."
You know, so it's going to be legal, but you got to wait until October. But if we pull you over and you're high, now we have a law to bust you. That's immediate. That became law yesterday.
They had to do a DNA test, wouldn't they?
No, blood. And time would be very important. I mean, there's just so much.
See, that's the thing about weed, though, man. There's crackheads like in the United States, you have drug tests for some jobs and stuff, right? So everybody goes and gets a test clear for the weed, has to go through all this. A crackhead, that shit leaves your system so quick, they can do it the weekend and the next week be cool. When weed stays in your system, so the least dangerous drug, the thing that everyone does is the shit that can keep you from getting a job in some states, maybe not so much in California. But cats doing some serious shit that leaves their system quick, no problem. They can get hired, like, you know? And I know that because I see all these damn tweakers and crackheads working.
Well, I can remember when I was up in Fort McMurray, which is, of course, the oil sands capital of the world, and all the work up there, everybody had the drugs when they got on. And if you did something stupid, they could demand a test, you know, after the incident. That's why Coke, I mean, this is the 90s. That's why Coke was so popular up there. 72 hours, not a trace. A lot of weekend warriors, a lot of fucking idiots. Same thing with crack. And meth. But, you know, if you're a meth chronic, it kind of give it away in other ways.
I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. If I'm running a business, I would hire stoners before people that was drunk on the job. If you had to say someone's gonna do something on the job, I'd rather them not be drinking more than not smoking weed, and definitely not no crack or speed, unless the job required people acting insane and working really fast, doing the same repetitive bullshit and looking
Cops.
around. Yeah, but
well, I mean, to counter that, I can give you a story that I can't say if it's bona fide or not, but I've heard it from numerous sources. There was a new type of service business. This is like 30 years ago in Edmonton. They set up, and from the very beginning, when they took job applications, they'd say flat out, "Do you use marijuana?" Nobody has to answer that by law in Canada. It's an illegal question. But the people who said yes, those are all the people they hired. Because they thought that would be a good start to making, you know, their family of employees. Since that time, that business with that service has become a national chain.
yeah, because then you know it's cool to smoke in front of your employees, and they're not going to say shit if they smoke too.
Well, it was a different starting point, you know? Everybody's here because we all do this. So look around the room and we have that in common. So, you know, we should be able to work together.
Each and every one of you guys here today is surrounded by a fine group of stone-ass motherfuckers. Celebrate. Light them up.
It was really a novel thing to do, because if anybody wanted to complain that the question was on the application, then that's a long process, and they could just remove it, and that would be it, right? So, pretty safe to do it that way. And it was a different concept for how to build a local business. And like I said, now they're a national chain. They're fucking everywhere in Canada.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, more businesses like that. Like out here, it's the opposite. But yeah, I mean, I've always had offices filled with weed. I remember we'd have executives come in and be like, "Holy hell, what's going on? Like we're working. What's going on with you?" And some of them, and it was funny because this one lady, she was from a really big record label. When she came into her office, and she's like, "God damn, you guys! Every time I come in here, I smell it across in the other offices across the hallway." And one day she came in, it was just me and a couple of the other. It wasn't like all the promoters and all the other people in there. It was just some of the main people that worked in the office. And she's like, where can I get some of that? She started coming by just to buy the weed. But you wouldn't think, looking at her, that she even smoked weed. She was such a business, you know what I mean?
Yep.
She worked with a lot of rappers and people that smoked weed, but she seemed like the executive. She always wore like a suit, and you know, it just seemed like it was pretty shocking. Yep. We're like, wow, you're actually cool. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think people highly overrate how terrible weed smokers are, and why they wouldn't want them working around them or being, you know, it just, some people just have a real, how the hell do we even get on this tangent? But some people have a real weird thing with stereotypes, but I mean, I guess weed smokers don't really have it bad compared to people who are born, you know, black or Latino or gay or trans or whatever, who get discriminated against all the damn time. I mean, I can not smoke weed if it came down to it, you know.
Yeah, but it all goes back to the same delivery methods. This is all based on false representation. I mean, the reefer madness still gets brought up in 2018. It still gets brought up because the methods you see now are basically exactly the same as reefer madness. And it appeals to people with a certain belief system. You know, you can drink overproof moonshine that you made, fuck the government, and then you get in your fucking car and drive wherever you want all over the road. That's not a big deal. Somebody wants to stay at home, smoke a couple joints and watch Netflix, they're a fucking criminal. You know, it's still out there. People who think like that.
Hey, lately I've been hearing some crazy stuff from these people. Crossing the border is illegal, and if I did something illegal, I'd have my children taken from me. So I don't see what the big deal is. What the hillbillies and, you know, the Trump people say. I don't want to slam hillbillies; they're not all racist fucks. I'm sure some of them are good people too. But
they're all fine,
very fine people. But but no, I mean it's I just lost my whole train of thought. God damn, I need more weed. Speaking of weed, no, but what was I saying, Glenn? What was the whole point of this shit?
I don't know.
The show's gone longer than it's supposed to.
Well, it's up to you, man.
What were we just
You're in control.
About? What were we just talking about? Oh, the hillbillies. Oh, wait, hang on. I can't even put it together. I totally lost my train of thought on this one. So whatever. Let's skip the hillbilly thing.
Okay, it's a stopped tangent.
Yeah, it was something about Trump though. What the hell were we just talking about just before that? I wish I had a rewind button. Like, hang on, we're gonna do an instant replay.
We're live. Let it go.
Yeah. I'll remember it for next show and then forget to bring it up.
All right.
So yeah, that was an awesome way to end the show by forgetting the whole tangent I was about to go off on.
But the last real subject we talked about was cannabis.
It was still a tangent.
But it was still the last thing we talked about.
Oh, that's true. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can't. Oh, wait. I know what it was. It had nothing to do with cannabis, though. So let's just leave it and end the show with legalize the weed everywhere and hire
write
weed
it down.
smokers.
Write it down. Whatever it is, write it down now.
I don't have anything to write with. Oh, I got my phone here. I can type it in here. So yeah, anything else we need to bring up, Glenn? Did you talk about the View Up Here next week?
No,
I know you talked about last week.
No, this Wednesday I'm going to have on Greg Fingers. He's been on before. Twitter @jurist blog. So, like person in the jury is a jurist, and then add blog on it. That's his Twitter handle. We're going to talk about the chronic underfunding of social programs in Canada. There's been a couple new reports out lately, one from the OECD that shows most EU countries are doing a hell of a lot better than Canada and the US. So we're going to take a look at some of these numbers and talk about where the fuck our money is going then, if it ain't going in our social system.
Cool. And we got another People's Manifesto coming up in about a week, and hopefully next week I think we're going to do another My Non-Objective Opinion about racist trolls, because one of our favorite racist trolls, well, I don't want to say too much, but he's in some deep shit right now, which is beautiful, for trolling people and stalking people and doing all this shit that racist trolls do, without saying his name, because I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. I know there's court cases and stuff going on. But yeah, if you want to know who it is, just look at our YouTube channel. He's trolling us all the time on there. Or just go to any Kendrick Johnson hashtag and you'll see him trolling on there. But yeah, we're going to talk about that, something a little different. And I'm still working on shooting these renegades and revolutionaries. They're harder to shoot than the People's Manifesto. So they're coming. Everything's coming slowly. I'm one person doing a whole lot of editing and filming, so it takes longer because I don't have a whole crew of union people helping out.
Okay.
So cool. Thanks to our few listeners. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with more people on the show. Everyone's been really busy lately, so it's me and Glenn. But Glenn's awesome. If I have to have one person, Glenn's an awesome person to have. And Glenn's like, yeah, I wish there was another person like me on the show that knows what the hell they're talking about. So cool. Yeah, I guess we're out, Glenn. And
all right.
Thank everyone again for listening. Thank you, Glenn, and we'll be back next week.